Discover the magic of ancient Celtic myths in The Spear and the Moon. Celtic Lore Revived. Journey deep into a world where legendary spears hold mystical power, and the moon governs fate and destiny. This video unravels the timeless stories passed down through generations, tales of warriors, gods, and enchanted knights. Whether you're a mythology lover or curious about Celtic culture, prepare to be captivated by the rich symbolism and forgotten wisdom that still echoes today. Join us as we bring these powerful Celtic legends back to life, illuminating their mystery and meaning for a new era. Celtic mythology remains one of the most evocative and mystical traditions in European history. Rooted in the ancient cultures of Ireland, Scotland, Wales, and parts of continental Europe, Celtic lore weaves a vibrant tapestry of gods, heroes, magical artifacts, and cosmic forces. Among the many symbols that resonate powerfully in Celtic stories, two stand out for their profound significance and enduring presence: the spear and the moon. These two motifs, each laden with meaning, offer a unique window into the worldview of the Celts, their understanding of power, fate, the natural world, and the spiritual realm. In this exploration, we'll revive the ancient Celtic lore surrounding the spear and the moon, unraveling their symbolism, the legends they inspired, and their relevance today. The Celtic spear, a symbol of power and sovereignty. The spear as a weapon and a sacred object. In Celtic mythology, the spear is not just a weapon of war, but a sacred symbol of authority, power, and divine right. Unlike the sword, which often represented personal valor and honor in many cultures, the spear had a distinct connection with kingship and fate. One of the most famous examples is the Spear of Luff, sometimes called the Spear of Light or Spear of the Sun. Luff, a prominent god in the Irish pantheon, was a warrior, king, and master craftsman. His spear was said to be unbeatable in battle, never missing its target, and capable of piercing any defense. The Spear of Luff was not only a weapon, but a symbol of his sovereignty and divine favor. It was said that whoever possessed the spear held the right to rule. Similarly, the Spear of Nuada, a legendary king of the Tuatha Dé Danann, the supernatural race in Irish mythology, was known for its magical properties and association with kingship. Nuada's spear symbolized his leadership and was part of the sacred regalia that affirmed his rule. The spear as a symbol of fate and prophecy. The spear also carried an element of prophecy and fate in Celtic myths. It was believed that the spear's throw could determine the outcome of battles and even the destiny of kingdoms. This was not simply a weapon, but a divine instrument capable of shaping reality. For example, in the tale of Cuchulainn, one of the greatest heroes of Irish mythology, his weapon of choice was the spear known as Gí Bulgaria. This spear was said to have been taught to him by his warrior mentor and could cause devastating wounds that no ordinary weapon could heal. The Gí Bulg symbolized Cuchulainn's heroic destiny and the fierce, sometimes tragic, nature of his fate. The ritual and mythic significance of the spear. The spear's role extended beyond battlefields. It was often used in sacred rites and ceremonies, reinforcing the connection between kingship, divine favor, and the natural order. In some accounts, the spear was employed in symbolic acts, such as the rite of the king's harvest, where the king's authority was renewed through ritual combat, or the symbolic casting of the spear into the earth. This connection between the spear and sovereignty reflects the Celtic understanding that kingship was not merely political, but sacred and mystical. The spear was an extension of the king's power and his role as a mediator between the human and divine realms. The moon in Celtic lore, mysticism and cycles. The moon as a celestial deity and cosmic force. The moon occupies a special place in Celtic mythology as a powerful celestial force governing time, fertility, and transformation. Unlike the sun, which often symbolized overt power and masculinity, the moon's influence was more mysterious, subtle, and feminine. In many Celtic tales, the moon was personified as a goddess or a divine entity with control over the natural cycles. The moon's phases, waxing, full, waning, and new, mirrored the cycles of life, death, and rebirth that were central to Celtic spirituality. The moon's rhythms influenced planting, harvesting, hunting, and festivals, reflecting the deep integration of nature and spirituality in Celtic culture. The lunar calendar and festivals. The Celts used a lunar calendar, marking important festivals such as Samhain, celebrated at the end of October or early November, which coincided with the new moon and the thinning of the veil between worlds. This liminal time was associated with spirits, ancestors, and the supernatural. Similarly, the festival of Imbolc, associated with the goddess Brigid, aligned with the first quarter moon of February, signaling the return of light and fertility after the dark winter months. The moon's presence in these rituals was not just about marking time, but about acknowledging the interconnectedness of human life with cosmic rhythms and spiritual realities. The moon and transformation. The moon was also linked to themes of transformation and mystery. In some Celtic legends, the moon goddess had the power to change shape or influence human fate. Stories of werewolves and shapeshifters, common in Celtic folklore, often involve lunar phases, emphasizing the moon's association with change, unpredictability, and the boundary between worlds. The moon was a guide through darkness, a symbol of hope and renewal, and a reminder that all things are cyclical. Light follows darkness. Death leads to rebirth. The spear and the moon together. Mythic interplay. While the spear and the moon have distinct symbolism, their combined presence in Celtic lore deepens the narrative of power, fate, and cosmic balance. The spear's light and the moon's glow. The spear of Luff is often described as a weapon of light, glowing with a fiery radiance that could blind opponents. This luminous quality connects the spear to celestial light, which the moon also reflects in the night sky. Together, the spear and moon embody complementary forces. The spear represents active, penetrating power and decisive action, while the moon represents reflective, mysterious, and cyclical power. Their interplay mirrors the duality in Celtic cosmology: day and night, male and female, war and peace, action and reflection. Warrior and mystic, the balance of forces. Celtic heroes like Cuchulainn embody this balance. His spear signifies his warrior strength and heroic destiny, while the moon's influence hints at the mystical forces shaping his life and fate. This balance reflects a Celtic worldview that did not separate the spiritual from the physical, but saw life as a dance between visible power and hidden mysteries, between the spear's strike and the moon's silent watch. The legacy of the spear and the moon in Celtic culture today. Revival of Celtic symbols in modern culture. Today, the spear and the moon continue to captivate artists, writers, and spiritual seekers interested in Celtic heritage. Modern neo-pagan and druidic traditions often invoke these symbols and rituals, seeing the spear as a symbol of personal power and protection, and the moon as a guide for inner transformation and connection to nature. They appear in literature, tattoos, jewelry, and even contemporary storytelling, serving as bridges to the ancient past and reminders of enduring truths about power, fate, and harmony with the cosmos. The spear and the moon as metaphors for our times. In a modern world marked by rapid change and uncertainty, the symbolism of the spear and the moon offers meaningful guidance. The spear urges decisive action, courage, and standing firm in one's purpose. The moon invites reflection, patience, and an understanding that life moves in cycles beyond our control. Together, they encourage us to embrace both strength and wisdom, to act boldly, but with awareness of the deeper currents that shape our lives. Reviving the ancient lore, the spear and the moon in Celtic heritage. In the rich tapestry of Celtic mythology, two symbols stand out with profound spiritual and cultural resonance: the spear and the moon. These emblems transcend their physical forms to embody layers of meaning that reveal how the ancient Celts understood the world, their place within it, and the divine forces that shape their lives. Today, as modern seekers and scholars rediscover Celtic myths, the spear and the moon offer powerful keys to reconnect with a worldview that honors the sacredness of power, the cycles of nature, and the mysteries that lie beyond ordinary perception. Reviving this ancient lore not only preserves cultural heritage, but also invites us into a deeper dialogue with ourselves and the cosmos. In this exploration, we will journey through the symbolic essence of the spear and the moon, uncover their spiritual significance in Celtic culture, and reflect on the ongoing relevance of these ancient motifs in our contemporary lives. The spear, more than a weapon, sacred power and sovereignty. To the Celts, the spear was not merely a tool for battle, but a sacred object symbolizing authority, divine right, and cosmic order. Unlike the sword, often associated with personal valor, the spear was deeply intertwined with kingship and the sacred duty of rulers. Consider the Spear of Luff, one of the most iconic mythic weapons in Celtic tradition. Luff, a god renowned for his mastery in arts and combat, wielded a spear said to be unstoppable, never missing its mark, radiating light, and holding the power to alter fate. Possession of the spear symbolized divine endorsement, confirming the ruler's legitimacy and his link to the spiritual realm. This dual nature of the spear, as a practical weapon and a sacred emblem, underscores a Celtic worldview where worldly power and spiritual authority were inseparable. The king or warrior who bore the spear was not simply a mortal figure, but a representative of cosmic order, charged with maintaining balance and justice. The spear as a bridge between worlds. In Celtic myth, the spear often acts as a bridge connecting the human world with the supernatural. The act of casting or wielding the spear is laden with ritual meaning, symbolizing not only physical battle, but spiritual confrontation and transformation. The spear's ability to pierce through armor parallels the piercing of illusions, the breaking of barriers between worlds, or the delivery of divine judgment. For instance, the spear gibog, used by the hero Cuchulainn, was a weapon of supernatural potency capable of inflicting wounds that defied healing. This reflects the idea that the spear transcends mere violence. It is an instrument of fate, destiny, and spiritual trial. The ritualistic use of the spear in ancient ceremonies, whether in rites of kingship, sacrifice, or festivals, reinforces its role as a mediator between the tangible and intangible realms. The spear becomes a symbol of the human quest to align with higher cosmic forces. Symbolism of the spear in personal and collective identity. For the Celtic communities, the spear also symbolized protection and identity. It was a marker of belonging, courage, and responsibility. Warriors bearing spears were guardians of their people, and the spear was often depicted in art, jewelry, and regalia to evoke strength and heritage. In modern times, the spear continues to inspire as a symbol of empowerment and resilience. Its revival in literature, art, and spiritual practice reflects a desire to reclaim ancestral roots and embrace a sense of purposeful action. The moon, the eternal cycle. The moon as a feminine and mystical presence. Complementing the spear's active and penetrating energy, the moon represents a quiet, reflective power rooted in cycles, change, and mystery. In Celtic lore, the moon often embodies the feminine divine, associated with goddesses, fertility, intuition, and the unseen rhythms of life. Unlike the sun, which dominates the daylight and symbolizes overt strength and clarity, the moon governs the night and the subtle transitions between states of being. Its waxing and waning phases mirror the cycles of birth, growth, decline, and renewal, found not only in nature, but in human life and spirit. The moon's presence in Celtic myths evokes a sense of sacred time, a time measured by lunar months rather than solar years, highlighting the importance of attuning to natural rhythms. The moon in Celtic festivals and spiritual practice. The lunar cycle shaped many Celtic festivals, aligning human activities with cosmic rhythms. Festivals such as Samhain, Imbolc, Beltane, and Lughnasadh were timed according to the phases of the moon, marking thresholds between seasons, life and death, darkness and light. Samhain, celebrated near the new moon of late autumn, was a liminal time when the veil between the living and the dead was thin. The moon's presence intensified the connection to the spirit world, guiding the Celts through transitions and honoring ancestors. The moon was also central in rituals of healing, fertility, and prophecy. Its light was believed to hold power to reveal hidden truths and foster transformation. The moon as a symbol of inner wisdom and change. Spiritually, the moon invites introspection and acceptance of change. It teaches that life is cyclical and that darkness is as essential as light. This symbolism resonates deeply with Celtic attitudes toward life, emphasizing balance and harmony. The moon's shifting phases remind us that no state, whether joy or sorrow, power or vulnerability, is permanent. In this way, the moon is a guide to resilience, encouraging surrender to natural flow rather than resistance. The spear and the moon together, a complementary duality. Balance of opposites. When viewed together, the spear and the moon represent a profound duality in Celtic cosmology, the interplay between active and passive, masculine and feminine, day and night, order and mystery. The spear, with its sharp point and penetrating force, symbolizes direct action, leadership, and clarity of purpose. The moon, with its gentle glow and changing shape, represents reflection, intuition, and the unfolding of hidden realities. This dynamic balance speaks to a Celtic worldview that honors complexity rather than simplicity, acknowledging that strength alone is insufficient without wisdom, and that mystery without direction can lead to confusion. Mythic narratives combining the spear and the moon. Some Celtic myths subtly weave the spear and the moon together, creating narratives where warriors act under lunar influence or where divine light and night forces coalesce. For example, Cuchulain's exploits are often set against the backdrop of night, shadow, and supernatural intervention, moments when lunar energy heightens the stakes of mortal conflict. The luminous spear cutting through darkness becomes a metaphor for illumination amid mystery. Such stories emphasize that true heroism involves engaging both the seen and unseen, the tangible spear and the intangible moonlight. Why revive ancient Celtic lore today? Reconnecting with nature's rhythms. In an era dominated by technology, urban living, and a fast-paced culture, the Celtic emphasis on natural cycles is more relevant than ever. The moon's lessons remind us to slow down, observe, and live in harmony with nature's ebb and flow. Reviving Celtic lunar wisdom can inspire modern practices in gardening, health, mindfulness, and spiritual awareness that honor natural timing and balance. Rediscovering sacred power and responsibility. The spear symbolism challenges modern individuals to reclaim a sacred sense of power and responsibility. It calls us to act with integrity, courage, and alignment with higher principles. In a world facing complex challenges, the spear's message encourages purposeful action grounded in ethical and spiritual awareness, reminding us that power is not only physical, but also moral and sacred. Healing fragmented identities. For descendants of Celtic peoples and those drawn to their heritage, reviving these symbols aids in healing fragmented cultural identities. Embracing the spear and the moon as part of a living tradition fosters pride, continuity, and a deeper sense of belonging. Moreover, these symbols resonate universally as archetypes, offering pathways to understand human experience, strength and vulnerability, action and contemplation, clarity and mystery, inspiring artistic and spiritual creativity. Celtic myths remain a fertile ground for artistic inspiration. The spear and the moon have been motifs in poetry, visual arts, music, and storytelling for centuries. By re-engaging with these ancient symbols, artists and spiritual seekers tap into a rich reservoir of meaning that transcends time, encouraging innovation rooted in tradition. Practical ways to revive and engage with the spear and the moon today. Ritual and ceremony. Many contemporary practitioners incorporate Celtic symbolism into rituals honoring the cycles of the moon or invoking the spear's power. New moon ceremonies might focus on introspection and setting intentions, while full moon rituals celebrate illumination and release. Similarly, rituals inspired by the spear can include affirmations of personal strength, protection, or commitment to a path of service. Study and storytelling. Engaging deeply with Celtic myths through reading, storytelling, or performance brings the spear and moon lore to life. Sharing these stories in community fosters cultural preservation and invites reflection on their enduring lessons. Artistic expression. Creating art inspired by the spear and the moon, whether painting, jewelry making, or writing, helps internalize their symbolism and share it with others. Symbolic designs can serve as personal talismans or communal icons. Nature connection. Following the lunar phases and aligning activities with natural rhythms cultivates a lived experience of Celtic lunar wisdom. Observing seasonal changes and honoring the earth cycles reconnect us to ancestral ways of knowing. The living legacy of the spear and the moon. Reviving the ancient lore of the spear and the moon is more than a nostalgic look at the past. It is a vibrant reawakening of a worldview that honors sacred power, cyclical time, and the interwoven mysteries of life. These symbols remind us that power is not only about dominance, but about responsibility and connection, that time is not linear but cyclical, and that our lives are part of a vast, unfolding cosmic dance. As we bring these potent images into contemporary consciousness, we reconnect with the spiritual and cultural heritage of the Celts, and, through that, with our own deeper nature. The spear and the moon still speak to us across the ages, inviting courage and wisdom, action and reflection, light and shadow. Their revival offers not only cultural enrichment, but timeless guidance for navigating the challenges and mysteries of our own lives. Thanks for joining us on this journey through the spear and the moon, Celtic Lore Revived. If you enjoyed uncovering the mysteries of Celtic legends and their timeless power, don't forget to like, subscribe, and hit the bell for more deep dives into ancient myths. Share your thoughts and favorite Celtic stories in the comments. We love hearing from you. Stay curious, keep exploring, and remember, these ancient tales still hold lessons for us today. Until next time, may the moonlight guide your path and the spear protect your spirit. Slan go foil. See you soon.